Tejo stared at Veltheros in complete shock. Work for Galactic Wings? But I am just an engineer. I do not know anything about airlines or corporate management or— You know something more important, Veltheros interrupted gently. You understand compassion. You understand that every passenger is a person with a story, with family, with dreams. That is what my company has forgotten, and that is what I need you to help restore. I do not understand. What would I even do? Veltheros sat back down and gestured for Tejo to do the same. My company employs beings from 43 different species. We have training programs that teach procedures and safety and efficiency, but we have lost something crucial. We have lost the heart of what we do. I need someone who can help rebuild that heart. But why me? There must be thousands of qualified people. Qualified in what? Business degrees and management experience? Veltheros' skin pulsed brightly. I have plenty of employees with those qualifications. What I do not have is someone who would sacrifice their entire future to help a stranger in need. Someone who understands that compassion is not weakness but strength. Tejo's mind raced. What would this job actually involve? You would work with our training department to develop new programs focused on empathy and passenger care. You would help our employees from all species understand human values and how they can apply to customer service. You would travel to our major hubs and assess how passengers are being treated. You would have the authority to recommend changes and improvements. I am not a teacher. I have never trained anyone. You taught me something important today, Veltheros said. You taught me that one person's kindness can make all the difference. You reminded me why I started this company in the first place. If you can teach me that, you can teach others. Tejo thought about it. The mining job would pay well, but it was 2 years of hard labor in difficult conditions. This job that Veltheros was offering sounded completely different. Challenging in new ways, but also meaningful. I need to think about it, Tejo said slowly. This is all happening so fast. Just this morning I was on a shuttle from Earth. Now I am sitting here talking about working for a galactic airline. It is too much to process, of course. Take your time. The offer will remain open. Veltheros stood slowly. For now you should rest. You have had a long and emotional day. Gina has prepared the guest room for you. Gina and Wu Jin emerged from the bedroom as if they had been listening at the door. Everything okay? Gina asked. Everything is more than okay, Veltheros said. Tejo and I have had a good conversation. Now he needs rest, and so do I. Age catches up with all of us eventually. The guest room was small but comfortable, with a bed that felt like heaven after the hard shuttle seats and the stress of the day. Tejo lay down but could not sleep. His mind kept replaying everything that had happened. Missing his flight, helping Veltheros, learning who the elderly alien really was, the offer of a job he never expected. He pulled out his datapad and sent a message to Hana. He kept it simple, not wanting to explain everything until he understood it himself. Something amazing happened today. I will tell you all about it soon. But you do not need to worry about your surgery anymore. Everything is taken care of. I love you. Her response came back almost immediately. She must have been awake despite the time difference. What do you mean taken care of? What happened? Are you okay? I am more than okay. I helped someone today and they helped me back in a big way. I will call you tomorrow and explain everything, trust me. Everything is going to be fine. You are being mysterious. But if you say it is fine, I believe you. You have never let me down, big brother. Tejo put the datapad aside and closed his eyes. For the first time in years, he felt like a weight had been lifted from his shoulders. Hana would get her surgery. He would not have to work in the mines. And he had an opportunity to do something meaningful instead of just surviving. The next morning, Gina made breakfast. More Korean food, kimchi and rice and soup. It tasted like home and made Tejo's heart ache with longing for Earth. Father left early this morning, Gina said as they ate. He had meetings at Galactic Wings headquarters. But he wanted me to tell you that your flight to Andromeda Gate leaves at noon. A car will come to take you to the VIP terminal. VIP terminal? Tejo asked. First-class passengers use a separate terminal, Wu Jin explained. Much nicer than the regular terminal. Better food, comfortable seats, actual service instead of just machines and indifferent representatives. After breakfast, Tejo packed his duffel bags. They felt lighter somehow, even though nothing inside had changed. Perhaps it was just his mood lifting his spirits. The car that arrived to take him to the terminal was not a car at all, but a small private shuttle. The pilot, a polite insectoid being, loaded Tejo's bags and gestured to the comfortable seats inside. Is this really necessary? Taeho asked Gina, who had come to see him off. I could just take the regular transit shuttle, Father insisted. He wants you to experience what first-class service should be. Consider it part of your education if you decide to take the job. I still have not decided about that. I know. But Taeho, can I give you some advice? Gina took his hands in hers. My father is one of the wisest beings I know. If he sees something special in you, he is probably right. Do not dismiss this opportunity because you do not think you are qualified. Sometimes the best person for a job is someone who sees the world differently. The VIP terminal was like entering a different universe. Where the regular terminal had been crowded and chaotic, this space was calm and quiet. Soft music played in the background. Comfortable chairs arranged in small clusters offered privacy and relaxation. Real plants grew in decorative pots, bringing life and green to the sterile space environment. A human attendant greeted Taeho by name. Welcome, Mr. Kim. Your flight will board in 1 hour. Please make yourself comfortable. Can I get you anything? Food, drinks, entertainment? I am fine, thank you. If you need anything at all, just press the button on the armrest of any chair. Someone will assist you immediately. Taeho sat in a chair near the window and watched ships coming and going from the station. Each one carried hundreds or thousands of passengers to destinations across the galaxy. Each passenger had their own story, their own reasons for traveling, their own hopes and fears. He thought about Pixtil, the customer service representative who had dismissed him so coldly. Were they taught to be that way, or had they just stopped caring? Could training really change that? Could one person make a difference in a company with thousands of employees? His grandfather's voice whispered in his memory one more time. You cannot change the whole world, Taeho, but you can change your small part of it. And if enough people change their small parts, eventually the whole world changes. When boarding was announced, Taeho was escorted directly to the ship. No waiting in lines, no security checkpoints, no confusion. A personal attendant showed him to his seat, which was more like a small private room than a seat. It had a bed, a desk, a screen for entertainment, and a window showing the vast darkness of space. Mr. Kim, it is an honor to have you on board, the attendant said. Please let me know if you need anything during the flight. You know who I am? Of course. Word travels fast in galactic wings. Everyone knows about the human engineer who helped our founder. You are quite famous among the crew already. Taeho felt his face grow hot with embarrassment. I just helped an old person. It was nothing special. It was special enough that our founder noticed, the attendant said with a smile. That makes it special to all of us. The flight to Andromeda Gate Station took 6 hours. Taeho spent most of it thinking. He thought about his options, about his sister, about the future he had imagined versus the future that was now possible. The mining colony job was safe and predictable. He knew what it would involve, knew what he would get out of it. But the job Veltheros offered was different. It was uncertain and challenging. He would be working in a field he knew nothing about, trying to teach concepts he had never formally studied. It was risky, but it was also meaningful. If he could help even a few employees remember that passengers were people, not just transactions, then maybe his grandfather's lessons would spread a little further through the galaxy. Maybe one person could make a small difference. When the ship docked at Andromeda Gate Station, Taeho had made his decision. He sent a message to Veltheros before he even left his seat. Thank you for the generous offer. I accept the position. When do I start? The response came back within minutes. Welcome to Galactic Wings Interstellar, Taeho. Your first day is whenever you are ready. We will arrange transport back to Nexus Prime whenever you wish to return. Taeho smiled and gathered his bags. He had one more task to complete first. He needed to formally decline the mining colony position and thank them for the opportunity. It was the polite thing to do. But as he walked through Andromeda Gate Station toward the mining colony offices, he realized something important. His life had changed completely because he chose to help a stranger. One small act of kindness had transformed everything. After dinner, Veltheros excused himself to make a call. He moved slowly to the small balcony that overlooked the station's interior garden district. Through the window, Taeho could see the elderly alien speaking into a communication device, his 6 limbs gesturing as he talked. The blue glow of his skin pulsed rapidly, brighter than Taeho had seen before. My father gets like that when he is passionate about something, Gina said, bringing more tea. He is probably calling my brother to tell him about his trip. You have a brother? Tejo asked. Yes, Malchin. He works in the outer colonies. We do not see him often, but he and father are very close. She sat down beside Wu Jin, who put his arm around her shoulders. How are you feeling, Tejo? Be honest. Tejo considered lying, but what was the point? Scared, lost, worried about Hana, wondering if I made a terrible mistake today even though I know I would make the same choice again. That is very human of you, Wu Jin said with a slight smile. To doubt and believe at the same time. It is one of the things I admire about Earth people. You feel everything so deeply. Sometimes I wish I could feel less deeply. It would make life easier. But then you would not be you, Gina said. And then you would not have helped my father. You would have walked past him like everyone else did. Veltharos returned from the balcony, and Tejo noticed immediately that something had changed. The elderly alien's posture was different, more formal. His skin glowed with steady, bright pulses. His eyes held a sharpness that had not been there during dinner. Gina, Wu Jin, could you give Tejo and me a moment alone? Veltharos asked. The young couple exchanged glances but nodded. We will be in the bedroom if you need us, father, Gina said. She touched Tejo's shoulder gently as she passed. Whatever he wants to tell you, just listen with an open mind. After they left, Veltharos sat down across from Tejo. The apartment's lights reflected off his translucent skin, creating patterns that danced across the walls. Tejo of Earth, Veltharos began formally. I have not been entirely honest with you about who I am. Tejo felt a spike of worry. What do you mean? When we met, I told you my name is Veltharos, Elder of the Ninth Fleet. This is true, but I did not explain what that means. He paused. Tell me, have you heard of Galactic Wings Interstellar? Of course, that is the airline I flew on from Earth, the same airline whose flight I missed today. Tejo felt confused. What does that have to do with anything? Everything, Veltharos said quietly. 47 years ago, I was a young Veltheron with one cargo ship and a dream. I wanted to connect the galaxy, to make travel accessible to all species, not just the wealthy. I started small, running freight between nearby systems. The work was hard, the profits were thin, but I believed in the dream. He paused, his skin pulsing with the rhythm of memory. Over the decades, my company grew. One ship became 10. 10 became 100. We expanded from cargo to passengers. We hired crews from dozens of species. We built a reputation for safety and reliability. Today, Galactic Wings Interstellar operates 6,000 vessels across 72 star systems. Tejo's mind raced, trying to understand what Veltharos was saying. You work for Galactic Wings? No, young Tejo. I do not work for them. I own them. I am the founder and majority shareholder of Galactic Wings Interstellar. The room seemed to tilt. Tejo gripped the edge of the couch to steady himself. You own the airline? I retired from daily operations 5 years ago, Veltharos continued. I left the management to younger, more energetic beings. But I still hold controlling interest. The company is still mine in all the ways that matter. But you were alone in the terminal, confused, lost. You did not have security or assistance or... No, I did not. And that was deliberate. Veltharos leaned forward. When I travel now, which is rare, I travel simply. I dress in plain clothes. I avoid my security detail. I want to see how my airline really treats passengers. I want to experience what ordinary travelers experience. Why? Because power and wealth create distance, Veltharos said. When everyone knows who you are, they treat you differently. They show you the best of everything and hide the worst. But I built my company on the principle of treating all passengers with dignity. I needed to know if that principle still guided Galactic Wings, or if it had been forgotten in pursuit of profit. Tejo thought about the customer service representative, Pixtil, who had dismissed him without sympathy or help. And what did you learn? Veltharos's skin dimmed, the blue light becoming almost gray. I learned that my company has lost its way. That representative you spoke to, Pixtil, showed no compassion, no understanding, just cold efficiency and indifference. They followed the rules, yes, but they forgot the spirit behind those rules. They forgot that every passenger is a person with hopes and dreams and emergencies. It is not your fault. They were just doing their job. A job that should include empathy, Veltheros said firmly. When I started Galactic Wings, I trained every employee personally. I taught them that we were not just moving bodies through space. We were connecting families, enabling dreams, making the galaxy smaller and more accessible. That was the mission. Somewhere along the way, as the company grew, that mission got buried under procedures and profit margins. Tejo did not know what to say. His mind was still processing the revelation that the confused elderly alien he had helped was actually one of the richest beings in the galaxy. But I also learned something else today, Veltheros continued, his skin brightening again. I learned that the values I tried to build my company on still exist. Not in my employees, unfortunately, but in a young human engineer from Earth who sacrificed everything to help a stranger. I just did what anyone should do. But they do not, Veltheros said. I was in that terminal for nearly an hour before you stopped to help. Thousands of beings walked past me. Some saw me struggling and looked away. Others were too absorbed in their own concerns to notice. You were the only one who stopped. The only one who cared. My grandfather taught me. I know what your grandfather taught you. You told me on the shuttle, and I want you to know that he taught you well. Veltheros stood up, moving to the window that looked out over the station. I made some calls while you were eating dinner, Tejo. I have taken certain actions. What kind of actions? First, I contacted the administrator of the mining colony where you were supposed to work. I explained the situation and vouched for your character. Your position will remain open with a delayed start date. You will not lose that opportunity. Tejo felt relief wash over him. Thank you. Thank you so much. Second, I have arranged for you to travel to Andromeda Gate Station tomorrow on our luxury liner. First-class accommodations, no cost to you. Consider it an apology from Galactic Wings for the poor service you received today. I do not need first class. Regular passage would be. You will fly first class, Veltheros said firmly. And you will accept it graciously because it makes an old being happy to do something good. Tejo felt emotion building in his chest. This was too much. I do not know what to say. You do not need to say anything. But I am not finished. Veltheros turned back to face him. Third, I have transferred funds to cover your sister's surgery and recovery care. The money will be in her account by tomorrow morning Earth time. Tejo stood up abruptly. No, that is too much. I cannot accept that. You can, and you will. Think of it as payment for a service rendered. You helped an elderly being in need. You deserve compensation for your time and sacrifice. But helping you was not about money. It was about doing the right thing. I know. That is exactly why I am helping you now. Not because you expect it or demand it, but because you deserve it. Veltheros moved closer. Please, Tejo, let me do this. Your sister needs this surgery. You are willing to work 2 years in the mines to save her. Let me give you this gift so you can focus on your life instead of just survival. Tejo felt tears building in his eyes. He tried to speak but could not find words. Everything he had lost just hours ago was being returned to him, and more besides. There is one more thing, Veltheros said quietly. And this is not charity or gratitude. This is a genuine offer based on what I have seen in you today. What offer? I would like you to come work for Galactic Wings Interstellar, not in the mines, here at headquarters, as a cultural liaison and training consultant. Tejo walked away from Gate 14C with his 2 duffel bags hanging from his shoulders. Behind him, he could hear Gina and Veltheros speaking in a mixture of Galactic Common and what sounded like Veltharan. The sound of their happy reunion faded as he moved deeper into the terminal. He found a quiet corner near a closed shop and sat down on a bench. For the first time since leaving Earth, he felt truly lost. His datapad showed his account balance, 800 credits. Not enough for a hotel room on the station for more than a few nights. Not enough for a ticket back to Earth. Certainly not enough to help Hana. The customer service desk for Galactic Wings Interstellar was located near the main terminal entrance. Taeho made his way there, hoping perhaps they could help him. Maybe there was a cancellation? Maybe someone had missed their flight and freed up a seat. Maybe the universe would show him one small piece of mercy. The representative at the desk was a Quellan, a species with 4 eyes arranged around their head and skin that changed colors based on their mood. Right now, the representative's skin was a dull gray, suggesting boredom or indifference. A small name tag identified them as Pixtil. I missed my flight, Taeho explained in his broken galactic common. Flight GX7739 to Andromeda Gate Station. Is there another seat available? Maybe on tomorrow's flight? Pixtil checked the computer screen without much interest. 2 of their eyes looked at Taeho while the other 2 remained fixed on the screen. Flight GX7739 is fully booked for the next 18 days. Next available seat is on the 26th day of this cycle. 18 days? Taeho felt his heart sink. Is there no other option? Any other flight, any other route? All direct flights to Andromeda Gate Station are fully booked. This is the busy season for mining contracts. Everyone is traveling there. Pixtil's skin flickered to a slight orange color. You can try a connecting route through the Orion hub, but that would take 23 days and cost twice as much. How much would it cost to rebook on the flight in 18 days? 400 credits rebooking fee plus 600 credits for the ticket. 1,000 credits total. Taeho checked his account again, hoping the numbers had somehow changed. They had not. I only have 800 credits. Then I cannot help you. Pixtil's skin returned to gray. Next customer, please. A tall alien stepped forward, pushing past Taeho without apology. Taeho moved aside and walked back to his bench. He sat down heavily and put his head in his hands. He had just destroyed his entire future to help a stranger. His job was gone. His sister's surgery money was gone. His plan, his hope, everything was gone. And for what? To help an old alien find his daughter? His grandfather's voice whispered in his memory again. Doing the right thing does not always lead to rewards, Taeho. Sometimes it just leads to more difficulty. But you still do it because that is what makes you human. Being human is expensive, grandfather. Taeho whispered to himself in Korean. Excuse me? A voice said. Taeho looked up. Gina stood in front of him with Veltharos beside her. A young man was with them, also human, carrying Veltharos's bag. I thought you left, Taeho said. We were about to, Gina said, switching to Korean, but my father insisted we find you first. He wanted to thank you properly. And when we came looking, we saw you at the customer service desk. We heard everything. The young man with them extended his hand. I am Woojin, Gina's husband. It is good to meet you, even under these circumstances. Taeho shook his hand, confused. Your husband is human? Yes, Gina smiled. We met at university, fell in love despite coming from different worlds. My father was not sure about it at first, but he learned to accept that love does not care about species. Veltharos moved closer to Taeho, his blue skin glowing softly in the terminal lights. Young Taeho, Gina tells me you lost everything by helping me. Your job, your money, your plans for your sister. Is this true? Taeho did not want to burden them with his problems. It is not your fault. I made a choice. A choice driven by kindness and honor, Veltharos said. Qualities that are rare in this busy galaxy. Please let us offer you something in return. Come to our home. Rest. Eat. Let us help you figure out what to do next. I cannot impose on you like that. It is not an imposition, Gina said firmly. It is the least we can do. Besides, you have nowhere else to go, do you? And station hotels are expensive. She was right. Taeho had no other options. Pride would not help him now. If you are sure it is not too much trouble. No trouble at all, Woojin said cheerfully. We have a spare room and Gina makes excellent kimchi jjigae. Have you had real Korean food since leaving Earth? Taeho admitted he had not. Station food was either alien cuisine he did not understand, or expensive Earth imports he could not afford. The thought of home cooking made his stomach growl. They took another transit shuttle, this time heading toward the residential sector of Nexus Prime Station. The station was so large that it had entire districts dedicated to housing, with apartments and shops and schools. Thousands of beings lived here permanently, making their lives in the space between stars. Gina and Woojin's apartment was small but comfortable, with a mix of human and Veltharan decorations. Pictures on the walls showed their wedding. Gina in a white dress and Wu Jin in a traditional suit, with Veltheros standing beside them in ceremonial robes. Other photos showed their life together on the station. "Please sit," Gina said, gesturing to a low couch. "Make yourself comfortable. Father, you should rest. The journey was hard on you." "I am fine, daughter. Stop worrying about me like I am made of glass." But Veltheros did sit down in a specially designed chair that accommodated his 6 limbs. Wu Jin brought tea, actual earth tea that smelled like home. Taeho wrapped his hands around the warm cup and felt some of the tension leave his body. "Tell us about your sister," Gina said gently. "Hana, right?" My father mentioned her condition, so Taeho told them everything. He had already told Veltheros some of it on the shuttle, but now he shared more details. He told them about Hana's dreams of becoming a doctor, about her studying late into the night despite her weak heart. He told them about her collapse last year, about the diagnosis that would require expensive surgery to fix. The mining colony job came with a signing bonus, Taeho explained. 5,000 credits paid up front. It was enough for her surgery and 6 months of recovery care. I sent in my application and got accepted the same week. It felt like a miracle. And now? Wu Jin asked. Now I have nothing. No job, no bonus. Not enough money to even get to Andromeda Gate. I will have to contact the colony administrator and tell them I cannot come. Then I will need to find work here on the station, any work. Save up enough to maybe send something to Hana, though I do not know if it will be enough or fast enough. Gina and Wu Jin exchanged a look. Veltheros was very quiet, his skin pulsing slowly. How long does Hana have before the surgery becomes critical? Veltheros asked. The doctor said within 2 months. After that, the damage to her heart might be permanent. Or worse. The room fell silent. Gina stood and went to the kitchen. Taeho could hear her preparing food, the familiar sounds of cooking reminding him painfully of home. Wu Jin excused himself to help her, leaving Taeho alone with Veltheros. The elderly alien studied him with those deep, dark eyes. You are very young to carry such burdens, Taeho. I do not feel young. I have not felt young in a long time. Your grandfather would be proud of you, not just for helping me today, but for everything you do for your sister. Family loyalty is precious. In my culture, family is everything. We take care of each other, even when it is difficult. This is true in Veltharan culture as well, Veltheros said. We value our elders and our young equally. A society that abandons either is a society that has lost its soul. They talked for a while longer, about culture and family and the challenges of living in space. Veltheros asked many questions about Earth, about human customs, about Taeho's life before the stars. Taeho found himself relaxing despite his situation. There was something calming about the elderly alien's presence. Dinner was ready eventually. Gina had made kimchi jjigae, rice, and several side dishes. The smell alone almost brought tears to Taeho's eyes. It smelled like his grandfather's kitchen, like home, like everything he had left behind. They ate together, sharing stories and laughter. For a little while, Taeho forgot about his problems and just enjoyed the moment. Gina and Wu Jin were easy to talk to, and they seemed genuinely interested in his life. The transit shuttle arrived with a soft hiss of compressed air. Taeho helped the elderly alien board, making sure the being found a seat near the door. The shuttle was crowded with passengers rushing to their gates. A dozen different species packed into the small space, all focused on their data pads or speaking in languages Taeho could not understand. The elderly alien sat down carefully, his 6 limbs folding in a way that seemed natural for his species but looked strange to Taeho's eyes. The blue glow of his skin had dimmed slightly, as if the effort of moving through the terminal had tired him. What is your name, young human? The alien asked as Taeho stood beside him, holding the overhead rail. Kim Taeho. Just Taeho is fine. I am Veltheros, elder of the 9th Fleet, but please call me Veltheros. I am too old for titles and formalities. The shuttle began to move, gliding silently through the tunnel that connected different sections of the massive spaceport. Through the windows, Taeho could see other shuttles moving on parallel tracks, and beyond them, the endless darkness of space punctuated by distant stars. Taeho's data pad buzzed in his pocket. He pulled it out and saw another notification. Final boarding call for Flight GX7739 to Andromeda Gate Station. The message included a warning in red text. Gate closes in 15 minutes. Passengers not boarded will lose their reservation. His hand tightened on the data pad. 15 minutes. The transit shuttle ride to Terminal 7 took 12 minutes, and then he would still need to help Veltheros find his gate and his daughter. There was no way he could make it back to his own gate in time. 2 years of planning gone. The job he needed gone. The money for Hana's surgery gone. All because he stopped to help a stranger. You are troubled, Veltheros said softly. I can see it in your face. Your species shows emotion very clearly. Tejo tried to smile. It is nothing. Just some work issues. You are lying, but you are kind to spare me worry. Tell me, where were you traveling to? There seemed no point in hiding it now. Andromeda Gate Station. There is a mining colony there. I had a job waiting. Had? Veltheros' eyes focused on him with sudden intensity. Past tense. You have missed your flight to help me? Tejo did not answer directly. He looked out the window at the passing tunnel walls. My flight leaves soon. But you needed help. My grandfather taught me that we should always help our elders when we can. It is the right thing to do. The blue patterns on Veltheros' skin pulsed rapidly, brightening and dimming in quick succession. Tejo did not know enough about Veltharan biology to know what this meant. Was the elder angry? Upset? Embarrassed? Young Tejo, you should not sacrifice your future for someone you do not know. I am old. I have lived a long life. But you are young. Your opportunities matter. My grandfather was old too, Tejo said quietly. When he was sick, strangers helped him sometimes. Helped him get on the bus. Helped him carry his groceries. Small things that meant everything to him. I think about that a lot. How small kindnesses can mean so much. The shuttle slowed as it approached the next station. A mechanical voice announced in Galactic Common. Terminal 4. Exit here for gates 8A through 12D. Some passengers got off, and new ones got on. A large reptilian being sat down across from Veltheros, taking up 2 seats with its massive frame. The shuttle started moving again. Veltheros was quiet for a moment. Then he spoke, his voice carrying a weight that had not been there before. Tell me about your family, Tejo. Tell me about this grandfather who taught you such values. So Tejo told him. He talked about growing up in Busan, about his grandfather who worked at the shipyards building ships that would never leave Earth's atmosphere. He talked about his parents dying when he was young, about raising his sister Hana while trying to become an engineer himself. He talked about night shifts at the factory and weekend classes and never having enough money or time. He talked about Hana's heart condition, about how she needed surgery that cost more than he could earn in 5 years on Earth. He talked about the mining colony job, about the signing bonus that would have covered her operation, about the 2-year contract that represented their only hope for a better life. And he talked about missing his flight right now, sitting in the shuttle helping a stranger get to Terminal 7. Veltheros listened without interrupting. The other passengers around them were absorbed in their own worlds, paying no attention to the human and the Veltharan sharing their stories. This sister of yours, Hana, Veltheros said when Tejo finished. She is lucky to have a brother like you. I am the lucky one. She is brave. She never complains, even when the pain is bad. She just keeps smiling and telling me everything will be okay. And you believed her? I had to. What else could I do? The shuttle announced Terminal 6. They were getting closer. Tejo checked the map on his datapad. One more stop. Then they would reach Terminal 7. His notification screen showed that his flight had now departed. Gate closed. Reservation canceled. The words seemed final, like a door slamming shut on all his plans. Veltheros noticed the change in Tejo's expression. It is done then. Your flight has left. Yes. I am truly sorry, young Tejo. This is my fault. No, Tejo said firmly. It was my choice. You did not ask me to give up anything. I chose to help you. That is different, but why? You do not know me. I could be anyone. I could be lying about my daughter, about needing help. Humans are new to space. Do you not worry about being tricked? Tejo shrugged. My grandfather said that it is better to help 10 people who do not deserve it than to ignore one person who truly needs help. I think he was right. Besides, you remind me of him. The way you move, the way you speak. He was kind like you. The shuttle arrived at Terminal 7 with a gentle bump. The doors opened and passengers streamed out onto the platform. Tejo helped Veltheros stand and gather his belongings. The elderly alien moved slowly, each step deliberate and careful. They walked together through Terminal 7, past shops selling souvenirs from 100 worlds, past restaurants offering food Tai-Ho could not identify. The terminal was slightly less crowded than the main hub, but still busy with travelers. Gate 14C is this way, Tai-Ho said, following the signs. His data pad translated the directions into Korean for him, making navigation easier. Veltheros moved beside him, his 6 limbs working in coordination to maintain balance. Tell me something, Tai-Ho. What will you do now? Without the job, without the money for your sister's operation? It was a good question, and Tai-Ho did not have a good answer. I will find something. Maybe another job, maybe here on the station. I have skills. I can work hard. Something will come up. You sound like you are trying to convince yourself maybe I am. But what else can I do? I cannot go back and change my choice. And even if I could, I think I would make the same decision. You needed help. That mattered more than my flight. They rounded a corner and saw Gate 14C ahead. A young woman stood near the gate entrance looking worried. She was human, with dark hair pulled back in a ponytail. When she saw Veltheros, her face transformed with relief and joy. Father, she called out, rushing toward them. Veltheros' skin brightened, the blue glow pulsing with what could only be happiness. Gina, my daughter. The woman embraced Veltheros carefully, mindful of his fragile form. Then she looked at Tai-Ho with gratitude in her eyes. Thank you, she said in Korean, surprising him. Thank you so much for helping my father. I was so worried when he did not arrive on time. Tai-Ho smiled, feeling a warm sense of satisfaction despite everything he had lost. At least this story had a happy ending for someone. It was no trouble. He is a kind person. I was happy to help. But as he said goodbye and turned to leave, he had no idea that his life was about to change in ways he could never imagine. Kim Tai-Ho sat on the hard metal bench and stared at the enormous display board above his head. Numbers and letters in dozens of alien languages scrolled across the screen, announcing departures and arrivals from all corners of the galaxy. His flight was listed there somewhere among the hundreds of others. Gate 23B. Departure in 35 minutes. He adjusted the strap of his old duffel bag and checked his ticket again on his data pad. The small device had cost him 2 months of savings back on Earth, but it was necessary for interstellar travel. Everything important was stored in it now. His ticket, his new job contract, his sister's messages, and a few photos from home. The Nexus Prime spaceport was unlike anything Tai-Ho had ever seen. He had left Earth 6 months ago, but he still was not used to places like this. The terminal stretched for miles in every direction, with ceilings so high they disappeared into artificial clouds. Thousands of beings moved through the space. Some walked on 2 legs like him. Others floated, crawled, or moved in ways he could not quite understand. A family of tall, gray-skinned aliens passed by, their children running ahead while the parents called after them in chirping voices. A group of insect-like beings stood in a perfect circle, their antennae touching as they communicated silently. Near the food court, a massive creature that looked like a walking tree ordered something from a vendor who barely reached its lowest branch. Tai-Ho had grown up in a small apartment in Busan with his grandfather and younger sister Hana. His parents died when he was 12, leaving him to help raise Hana while their grandfather worked double shifts at the shipyard. When their grandfather passed away 3 years ago, it became Tai-Ho's responsibility alone. He worked as an engineer at a factory, but the pay was never enough for Hana's medical school fees and her growing health problems. That was why he had left Earth. A mining colony in the Andromeda sector needed engineers, and they paid 3 times what he made back home. The contract was for 2 years. 2 years of hard work in space, and he could give Hana the life she deserved. She could finish medical school. She could get the surgery she needed for her heart condition. She could have a future. But first, he had to make this connecting flight. He checked the time again. 32 minutes now. The flight from Earth to Nexus Prime had been delayed by 4 hours due to solar winds, and he had landed with barely enough time to catch his connection. If he missed this flight, the next one would not leave for 3 weeks. His new employer had been clear in the contract. Arrive on time or the job offer was canceled. Tai-Ho stood and stretched his legs. He was 33 years old but felt much older. The past few years had been difficult. He walked toward his departure gate, weaving through the crowd of aliens. His 2 duffel bags were not heavy, but they contained everything he owned. Clothes, tools, a few books, and one framed photo of his family. As he passed a large display showing news from across the galaxy, something caught his eye. An elderly alien was struggling near the departures board. The being was small and delicate, with 6 thin limbs and skin that seemed to glow with a soft blue light. The alien appeared confused, looking up at the massive display board and then down at a datapad in his trembling hands. Tae-ho slowed his pace. Other passengers walked past the elderly alien without stopping. Everyone seemed to be in a hurry, focused on their own destinations. The elderly alien dropped something, and several small data chips scattered across the floor. The being tried to bend down to pick them up but struggled with the movement. Tae-ho glanced at the time. 28 minutes until his flight. He looked at gate 23B in the distance, then back at the elderly alien. His grandfather's voice echoed in his memory. Tae-ho, the measure of a person is not what they do when people are watching. It is what they do when no one cares. He walked over to the elderly alien and knelt down, collecting the scattered data chips. The alien looked at him with large, dark eyes that seemed almost human in their expression. Up close, Tae-ho could see that the blue glow of the alien's skin pulsed in slow, gentle waves. Patterns of lighter blue traced across the surface like veins of light. "Excuse me," Tae-ho said in his broken galactic common, the universal language he had been trying to learn. "Do you need help?" The elderly alien's skin flickered, the blue light pulsing faster. "Thank you, young being. Yes, I am lost. These terminals are too confusing for an old soul like me." Tae-ho handed over the data chips and studied the alien more carefully. The being wore simple, dark robes that seemed too plain for someone who could afford interstellar travel. 6 thin limbs extended from a central body, and the face was gentle with wise eyes that held decades of experience. "Where do you need to go?" Tae-ho asked. The elderly alien showed him the datapad. "Terminal 7, Gate 14C. My daughter is waiting for me there, but I cannot understand these directions. My translator device stopped working when I arrived, and everything here moves too fast." Tae-ho looked at the terminal map on a nearby display. His stomach sank. Terminal 7 was on the complete opposite end of the spaceport. Getting there required taking 2 transit shuttles and passing through several security checkpoints. It would take at least 30 minutes, maybe more depending on the shuttle schedule. He checked the time again. 25 minutes until boarding. The gate agents always started boarding early, and they closed the doors 10 minutes before departure. If he helped this alien get to Terminal 7, he would miss his flight. There was no question about it. The elderly alien noticed his hesitation. "You have somewhere to be, yes? I should not take your time. I will find my way somehow." Tae-ho looked at the alien's trembling hands and thought about his own grandfather. He remembered how his grandfather had struggled in his final years, how frustrated he became when he could not do simple things anymore. He remembered the kindness that strangers had sometimes shown, helping his grandfather cross streets or carry heavy bags. "No," Tae-ho said, making his decision. "I will help you. Terminal 7 is not far." He was lying, but it seemed like the right thing to say. He picked up his duffel bags and gestured for the elderly alien to follow him. "Come, we will take the transit shuttle together." "Do you have luggage?" "Just this small bag," the alien said, holding up a worn travel case. "Thank you, young one. What species are you?" "I do not recognize your form. I am human." "From Earth." "Ah, humans. I have heard much about your kind. You are new to the galactic community, yes? Only joined the Federation 30 years ago." "Yes," Tae-ho said as they walked toward the transit shuttle station. "I am still learning about all of this. Space is much bigger than I thought." The elderly alien made a sound that might have been laughter. Space is always bigger than anyone thinks, even after a lifetime of traveling through it. They reached the transit shuttle platform. A holographic sign showed the next shuttle would arrive in 6 minutes. Tae-ho checked his datapad one more time. His flight was now boarding. The notification glowed on his screen like an accusation. He took a deep breath and turned off the notification. There was no going back now.